Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. At that time, Jesus left Samaria for Galilee. For Jesus himself testified that a prophet has no honor in his native place. When he came into Galilee, the Galileans welcomed him, since they had seen all that he had done in Jerusalem at the feast, for they themselves had gone to the feast. Then he returned to Cana in Galilee, where he had made water wine. Now there was a royal official whose son was ill in Capernaum. And when he heard that Jesus had arrived in Galilee from Judea, he went to him and asked him to come down and heal his son, who was near death. Jesus said to him, "Unless you people see signs and wonders, you will not believe." The royal official said to him, "Sir, come down before my child dies." Jesus said to him, "You may go. Your son will live." The man believed what Jesus had said to him and left. While the man was on his way back, his slaves met him and told him that his boy would live. He asked them when he began to recover, and they told him, "The fever left him yesterday, about 1 in the afternoon." And the father realized that just at that time, Jesus had said to him, "Your son will live." And he and his whole household came to believe. Now this was the second sign Jesus did when he came to Galilee from Judea. The Gospel of the Lord.
This morning I read about an old Hebrew proverb that said that when Moses cast his arms out with the staff over the waters of the Red Sea so that they could part, nothing happened until the first group of people put their feet into the water. In other words, they believed and acted knowing that it would happen, trusting that it would happen. And so they acted. Now, if you look at the man, this official, and how he was, you see some of that. This is what we call living in faith. I trust he said it, I believe it's true, and I act according to that, no matter what my senses tell me. And so this official is pleading. He's begging. He's groveling. And this is interesting because they say he was a Roman official. So he's a highly placed executive in the greatest army of the world at the time. The whole world is at his feet, and he is groveling in front of Jesus. That in itself is the beginning of an act of faith. But probably more true is it's an act of desperation. And so faith can come in very handy in desperate times, however. Now it says here, the man believed that Jesus said this. Okay, so he believed, but it wasn't just a statement of theory. The words that follow, he believed and he left. In other words, he put his foot in the river. He left. He started walking right away. He didn't know that the healing happened. He didn't know even that it would happen for sure. But he left, presuming that he could trust what Jesus said. And of course, he discovered the reality. The prophet Isaiah promises a time when there'll be a new heaven and a new earth. This is a reference to what it's going to be like in heaven. It's going to be a time that we don't see right now, but it's coming. Faith is trusting that what Jesus said is true. What was prefaced, or you could say it was a preview by the prophet Isaiah, this new heaven and a new earth. Faith is when we act like we're going to that and trusting that it's going to be. And so we live a life to accommodate that. Everything else is fruitless and useless. And so if we're a people of faith, then we are faithful as Catholics. We live the Catholic life because Jesus said that is what gets us to heaven, and it really does exist. And in faith, we all take a step by step to get there, trusting that it will be true. This word is even more true than the weatherman's predictions about tomorrow. And on that word, everybody is going to spend hundreds of dollars today stocking up their closets and their refrigerators for groceries that you may or may not need. And the weatherman, who has the only profession where you can make mistakes and still get paid for it, is given more credence than Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for you. Well, amen.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquam meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit,